Right. Hey guys, how are we doing? It's been a while, but we are back on another Plague of Gripes video. And yeah, it's been a while since he's done an anime related video. It's all art stuff and things, isn't it? And yeah, one of the biggies he uploaded was that the hypocrisy in Naruto. Um, interesting video. I feel like this is going to have the same similar kind of look into Hunter x Hunter. So this one is called Gon Lost His Mind. Everyone misunderstands why. Now I'm reckoning this is going to be talking about the moment where Gon transforms into sticky hair mode and annihilates Pito. And my understanding for that was that like he thought Kite was alive the whole time, and then we finally realized it just explodes because the whole journey for him was like to do that. There's obviously more into it. It's just a very brief. So yeah, let's see what Plague of Gripes has to say, shall we?
You guys like anime videos, right?
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, I know you do.
All right, I'm guessing he got a lot of people asking.
I want to talk about this little weirdo.
Cool.
There's actually a lot of good videos already about Gon Freecss' personality. You can probably find them somewhere.
Yeah, there are a lot of character looks into Gon, especially like the comparison with Gon and Meruem and stuff like that. I find it very interesting.
Here, though, this video is just my take on the little dude. I'm also writing it like my older, stupider videos because it's anime, and you guys like that. So if you get angry at the screen, it's probably your fault, actually.
Whoa.
Spoilers for Hunter x X starring Vin Diesel. Also, now that I'm writing his name down, look at this thing. Like, sure, Gon is a stupid name, but his last name.
Freecss.
It's breeding more letters every time you look away from it. Is it supposed to be German? Anyway, also kind of fitting that it's pronounced Freecss, because that's what he and his dad are. Not pejoratively, they're like sexual freaks. I mean genetically sexual, not sex-sexual. I don't think either of them are sex-sexual, especially not Ging.
No, I wouldn't think that of him. Like.
Maybe Gon learned some stuff from those boat women he always talks about, but he was 10? I'm with Killua. Ain't having that.
Nah.
But yeah, these two were actually born better than everyone else.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're doing this again. If you didn't know, characters that are born more talented and just better than everyone else, I don't much care for that. But it's a good way in a shonen-adjacent story to handwave logic, which is probably why it's so common. You can have scenes where a green baby Yoda in the booty shorts beats the hell out of grown men without any effort. How did he do that? Oh, he's just real good. How did Batman not get shot by like 20 guys? Well, he's just real good. How that Jedi know about the assassin and was able to block 10 guys firing at the same time with a stick, even though he's clearly filmed to be as slow as a normal person.
He's just that good. Just that good.
The Force did it. It lets him be good. Gon and Ging are also good. Gooder than most. Let's establish a goodness level.
Okay. Oh, mate. Wow.
Goodness scaling.
Goodness scaling.
In the world of Hunter x Hunter, there is something called Nen. I'm not going to explain it because that will awaken actual analytical me, and he'll try to write a real video instead of this one. Just know that it gives you superpowers, and you usually need to be trained to know how to use it, but sometimes people sort of use it accidentally. Also, people in the setting seem to be way more durable and more powerful than real life. Even after Gon loses the ability to use Nen, he's somehow more capable than everyone else. And before he learned Nen, Gon runs an 80-kilometer marathon over about 6 hours. For context, Usain Bolt could sprint a distance of 100 meters at almost 45 kilometers an hour. That took 9.58 seconds, 12.5 meters a second. That's pretty fast.
That is fast.
A normal person jogs at about 1.5 to 2.5 meters a second. You start running past that. Everyone in this 80-kilometer race was casually jogging at about 25% of the speed Usain Bolt ran for 10 seconds. Gon did make about 5 beads of sweat. Killua was just...
Yeah, they're smiling. They're not exhausted or anything. It's just
bored.
right, okay.
Lots of people completed the same race, but most were tired.
Leorio.
Because they're pussies. So, how did Gon do it? Did he practice marathon running for several
Oh, he's just good. Okay, I'm getting this.
years exceeding the limits of an ordinary boy? No. Did he know Nen? No, not yet.
No, not yet.
He was just good. He's very good. He also carried 3 grown men on his back, could hold his breath for 9 minutes and 44 seconds, broke a high-ranking hunter's arm with one hand, trained with a 50-kilogram vest on, and afterwards pushed open a door that weighed 4 tons. He can also seemingly jump over tree
Why? Because he's
sometimes,
good.
and he has a nose so sensitive that it rivals a bloodhound. Even though he has a little, triangle anime boy nose, not a big woofer snoofer. I was poor and played in creeks and with wild opossums and shit when I was a kid. I didn't get any goddamn superpowers, just social awkwardness.
Okay.
Gon is also usually portrayed as being at one with nature. Animals hang all over him and other strong hunters. Hey, why is it when someone is a Tarzan type guy, animals love you? Don't animals hate each other in the wild? That's where they get eaten alive, after all.
Hey, that's a very, very valid point. Yeah, like, whenever... yeah, okay.
You'd think if animals would love anyone, it'd be people who aren't at one with nature. Maybe he missprays his pheromones on them when they're not looking.
What is this music?
Alongside all these superhuman feats, Gon is also 11 years old. The actual reason why he can do this stuff is, this is an imaginary fake person. It's made up.
It's not real. It's not real.
The guy that wrote it lied about him being real. So don't be too depressed, you can't do that stuff. You would actually have to try, but all Gon had to do was be ink on paper, which, frankly, I think is a little embarrassing for him.
Because he's not real.
But in the setting, that's just how it works. It could be he was unconsciously using Nen because people do that, but it's mainly because he's just better than everyone else.
Okay, yeah, he's the main character. It's main character syndrome.
Says that he and Killa are 1 in 10 million talents, so they just naturally master stuff with way less effort than normal, mundane, dookie-level humans. I'm just establishing here that Gon is superhuman. He has lots of natural advantages over almost everyone he meets, and even before becoming a hunter, he can't necessarily be held accountable by anyone, because no one would be able to stop him. And that's something important to remember when evaluating someone's character. So he's strong. Let's look at his motivations.
I mean, he does get beat in fights though, but...
No. The first time we run into this kid, he's trying to catch a huge fish. He made a deal with his average human mother-sized sister ant thing, that if he caught it, he'd be allowed to go take the hunter exam.
Hell yeah.
No one can catch the fish, he's too big or something. But Gon is a baby, and he can because he's just so good. I'd like to point out that he doesn't really do anything clever. He sort of just catches it.
Yeah, he just catches it. Okay. Anime tries to fix how simply he catches fish. Oh, okay, right.
It makes it seem like the master of the swamp isn't hard to hook. You just have to be strong to reel him in, maybe.
So the manga, he just pulls it in. Right, okay.
But it doesn't matter how strong you are because there's still a fishing line between you and the fish. I guess the fishing line is also just real good and never breaks.
Yeah. It's naturally better than all the other fishing rods.
Or maybe Gon unconsciously used enhancement Nen or something on it. I don't care. I just wanted to bitch about the fish. Also, if it was based solely on strength, couldn't Gon just jump in the pond and punch out the fish? Well, whatever. He gets the fish.
Yeah.
More importantly, when the story opens and he's 11 years old, he's already at one with nature and he has superhuman powers. But that wasn't always the case. 3 years before that, he's not all that strong or concerned about nature. Dr. Gripes is going to look at his formative years. Okay, parents. His first cousin is basically his mom. That's fine. He's never met his dad and just knows he abandoned him, although Mito later admits she stole custody from him. She doesn't say why, but it seems like it was because she knew Ging was a dumbass who
like wasn't good for him, kind of thing. Or didn't want to get him to get into trouble.
Be a terrible father. Not that he put up a fight about it. So Gon has no dad, a mother that tells him every day he's not her child, and his primary motivation is now meeting his dad and becoming a hunter. Why? Well, it's because the show is called Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
But tabling
it's a hunter trying to find a hunter, yes.
That he says is because being a hunter must be amazing for a father to abandon his child. You know, it's one of those anime things where a kid says something stupid and disconnected from reality, and we're supposed to respect him because his innocent wonder belies the reality of the world around him.
Okay.
But okay, one, shitty parents exist. Knocked up teens dump their babies in dumpsters from time to time. I myself was the victim of terrible parenting.
Oh,
Not the dumpster thing, though. A good portion of you probably had bad parents, too. That's why we're both on YouTube.
Well, I'm not saying anything about my parents. They were great. No,
hey, maybe the guy who's known for being unreliable and selfish is unreliable and selfish. Maybe becoming a hunter didn't have a damn thing to do with it. Maybe Ging is just a terrible person.
Maybe it's just not good, yeah. It's just not nice.
Later on, we learned that, yeah, he is. Most hunters are sort of terrible people in various ways. More on that later. Gon becomes a hunter way before meeting his dad. This doesn't satisfy his goal at all. In fact, he even sells his license at one point because it's not that important to him.
Which is crazy, but okay.
You get the impression that at some point his bullshit about learning why his dad left doesn't actually matter. It's more that Gon just set an arbitrary goal and now wants to hunt it to completion. Also, since this was Kite's exact goal, maybe he just appropriated it to some degree. By the time he sells that license, he knows what being a hunter is like. And being a hunter is pretty nice. Up front, they tell you that making billions of dollars becomes absurdly easy. The entire...
Which is the Oreo's point, you know, he wants it to help people.
Internet seems to exist to funnel money into their pockets. The sort of world government also lets you commit crimes or do whatever, just as long as you like looking for stuff. That's why the Hunter Association exists. They like it when people aggressively pursue goals, but the association doesn't care what the goals are or how you go about accomplishing them, mostly. If that sounds insane, well, 95% of the countries of the world say this is a great system. It seems like that's because they secretly know how fucking good Nin powers are. Society at large has no clue Nin exists.
Yeah, it's like a secretive system, isn't it? Like, it's like even these that have passed the Hunter exam don't even know that Nin's a thing yet.
Even though crazy shit is happening everywhere all the time. And entire national economies are driven by people's powers. There are public fight arenas that showcase superhumans doing stuff the audience
people still don't get it, yeah.
Can't see because it's Nin. But no, Gon doesn't care about being a hunter. Even though it's the most advantageous status to have in the universe. He just wants his dad to tell him specifically why he thinks being a hunter is great. His obsession with his dad is so damn weird. There's a moment in the story where Ging has a recorded message that's about to tell Gon about his mother.
And then he doesn't want to know, does he? Yeah.
Gon turns it off and doesn't want to learn. Stop making me learn facts! Because Mito is his mom.
Well, yeah, I kind of like that, yeah.
Uh-huh. So Gon didn't have a dad, but he's obsessed with him because Ging abandoned him for hunter shit. Okay, fine.
But the mom
But his
thing...
mom also was not there.
Yeah.
But he's not obsessed with her. She could be dying in a ditch, screaming her baby's name right now, and Gon doesn't care.
Huh. Oh, yeah, okay.
She's his mother. She squeezed him out of her hoo-ha. And that hurts a lot, I'm told. Especially if you're giving birth to a fucking pineapple. That stupid-looking hair probably scarred up her insides.
Oh, come on, stop it.
And fierce. And sometimes mothers develop attachments to stuff that falls out of them. Like love and shit. And there's no explanation for her abandoning him before his dad did.
I suppose, yeah, there is no explanation whatsoever. Yeah, not interested.
In fact, she may not even exist because Ging used a Greed Island card that lets him poop out babies from his butthole or hatch them from an egg he horfs up. Or gone green like an apple out of Jing's nipkin, who knows? It's a big mystery. So you'd think it'd be even more of a big deal for her to not be around. But no, who cares? Not important. You can make up a few reasons for this. The most reasonable one is one I find totally unreasonable. That since he grew up with an adopted mother, he's just way less concerned about that mystery.
Yeah, that's what I kind of took, but alright, where are we going with this?
Mito was also clearly infatuated with Ging, despite him being talented human garbage, so she never shut up about him. Also, she was 3 years old when she knew him, and her cousin. Gross. Point being, she didn't know his mother, so she never talked about her. So it probably got in his head that his father was fascinating. That's the intrinsic reason. The extrinsic, real reason is that Togashi probably didn't want to discuss his mom and needed Gon to have some generic overarching goal to chase to get the plot going. His moron father. Either way, Gon and Ging are styled to be incredibly similar. When Gon is abandoning Mito to go on some asinine mission, she compares him to Ging because that's the exact same thing Ging did.
Yeah.
Gon left, Gon was gone, yes, when he was 11 and had superpowers. But when he was 8, he seems like he didn't have his one with nature stuff. This is when he ran into this guy, Kite. Gon goes wandering around in the territory of a space bear or something, and the bear was a mother, which clearly does not impress Gon. But to save his life from Mom Bear, Kite has to kill this poor, murderous, extremely aggressive animal who will brutally maul a child to death for walking in the general area. That poor creature. Kite questions why Gon doesn't know about nature, and Gon says it's because he doesn't have a mother or father. Oh, I see. That Mito is my mother horseshit hits the road pretty fast.
Oh, damn.
Doesn't it? Was she not teaching you about the woods you fucking live next to? Anyway.
Okay, there's some points being made in this.
Kite tells him his father is alive and a hunter. Mito really appreciated that, after years of lying about his father being dead. Although Gon doesn't tell Mito that he knew this stuff until 3 years later, so I guess he knew it would cause her to spiral into a depression. And when he admits knowing this stuff, he tells her he can tell when she's lying. She does it a lot. This is a cool family dynamic you got.
That's so weird, yeah. Like, to know she's lying and not saying anything about it. 3 years, that's a long time. And then, oh no.
Going Gon. His mother is also his cousin, so it's already a little fucked up. She was also 13 years old when she adopted him because her parents died in a mysterious accident, and Jing's father, quote, didn't come back from fishing. And his real mother may also be his dad. I don't know, I'll give him a pass. But jumping way ahead, I'd like to point out that Gon loses his goddamn mind about Kite dying later. People like to smokescreen how weird this is by talking about the 2011 anime. It didn't introduce Kite until the start of the final 2 arcs, so people like to say...
Yeah, but then the original story isn't introduced like first episode.
It was so much more meaningful in the manga. It wasn't. They met, Kite punched him in the face, told him a little about hunters and his dad, and how he's on some mission to find Ging, enough to get him riled up with ninzumis. But after Kite introduces himself, he's on one more page, and there's no time lapse. He just gets up and leaves. So presumably they had maybe an hour-long conversation we don't see.
Right, so it's not interesting. A lot of people make, yeah, hello, okay. So it's just a chat that they had that adds to it then.
And that was their life-changing friendship. If he was around longer, we don't know. And that's the important part. It's not even implied. When Gon and Killua run into Kite again, they're together for about 2 months before Kite dies. For now, I just want to emphasize that meeting Kite is treated as the most important thing that ever happened to Gon and turns him into Tarzan Boy, but it was figuratively nothing. A normal person would not place this much value on someone like Kite. You'd probably forget he existed. No, the 2011 anime is not responsible for any misunderstanding. It never made sense. Treating it like it did actually dilutes what Gon does later, and how that relates to his actual personality. So, don't do that.
Okay, this is really interesting. This is a really interesting take. Oh, I love this. Ha.
Real reason that actually has some thought behind it. So gaslighting everyone that brings it up is doing the actual story a disservice. Either way though, this is where Gon gets his fascination with the Hunter Association and his father. Some guy in the woods mentions it for a few minutes, leaves, and Gon brews this fantasy in his head for the next 3 years while he tries to live up to this natural order thing Kite said was important for vague reasons. I think it was poorly conveyed and again mostly a writing conceit. It also happened in the first damn issue, so I'm not going to bash it too much, but it is very important. So this is how Babby was formed. He was born better, but seemingly, maybe, never developed until he ran into Kite. After that, he for sure became a wilderness kid who was obsessed with this mysterious hunter world outside of the tiny one he was raised in. And that's the key to understanding Gon. He's extremely naive because of his lack of exposure and because he's a homeschooled kid.
Yeah, not a lot of outside experience.
And he views the normal world through the lens of how the natural world works. Just like any dumb animal, his motivations center around curious impulses and selfish desires. And
oh yeah, like I'm totally on board with that. Gon's a very selfish character. He doesn't really seem to care about everyone else. It's just like it benefits him, everything that he does. Whenever he tries to save someone, it always benefits Gon.
Gon is basically that. A wild, selfish animal that prioritizes what it wants above what happens to anyone else. Mm-hmm. Sometimes to the point of it harming people he cares about. And that's also true for most hunters. It's an ongoing theme in the series. Me, me, me. but he's also been raised with excellent values, so he's still a good boy, for now. That's his formative basis as a character, thin as it is. It helps frame his moral compass, or his lack of one, when you take in the series. Let's talk about that moral compass. When Killua mentions he's an assassin, Gon not only instantly believes him, but also doesn't care. The thought of, oh, this is a person without moral character who will murder someone for money, never occurs to him. Not that I characterize Killua exactly like this, but it doesn't even cross Gon's mind.
Yeah.
To him, it's just a curiosity, something to learn about. You might think it's because it's too foreign of an idea, since Gon is so naive. No, because Killua also mentions stabbing his own mother and brother in the face.
Yeah, so he is telling him this, and it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, alright, that's cool.
Gon has a mother, according to him, and he doesn't react much to that either. Whether it's listening to a scammer talk about grifting techniques, someone breaking his arm to advance in a tournament, or even watching a murder take place, Gon just doesn't care. This all links back to him being a little wilderness kid. I was raised on a farm, and yeah, people being devastated over a pet dying seems a little strange to me. I don't like seeing animals in pain, and it bothers me to lose one, but I'm more disconnected from it than someone who's only ever had 1 or 2 pets their whole lives.
Right, okay, I see. Yeah, okay, right.
But Gon is basically inhuman. His general attitude seems to be that nature is horrible, but it happens. So when he encounters something, a bear, a serial killer, whatever,
this massive pig thing with its huge nose,
he has to evaluate what that creature is all about. To Gon, this is all natural behavior. It's just the state of the world to be in conflict, and for each thing to fight for different reasons. More importantly, that's how creatures in the wild survive. They use their senses to learn about the world, and then kill or manipulate to satisfy their individual goals. If something wants to kill him, Gon doesn't want to die, so he will resist.
Yeah.
But he's not going to blame them for it, because that's what they are. There are very, very few exceptions to this. Gon becomes violent with the Phantom Troop for being hypocritical about killing. It's a-okay for them to run around slaughtering people, as far as they're concerned. But when someone kills one of their friends?
Ooh, yeah. It's like, excuse me. Role reversal. Think about what you're doing here.
Well, that's an outrage. This triggers the Gon. Considering Gon is best friends with a professional murderer,
Yeah, it just rips a guy's heart out. Like, yeah.
And his value of strangers' lives fluctuates a lot from scene to scene, it's easy to see him as also being a hypocrite. And yeah, he is. He's a little hypocrite, by people's standards. But his logic is that, 1, this is not natural since it accomplishes nothing. 2, if your instinct is to see everyone as disposable, this also makes you disposable. And 3, his confusion is what actually makes him angry. We'll famously see this later with Neferpito protecting a human. Sure, the Kite rage is part of it, but what really sends him over the edge is getting there, wanting a fight, and then having to wait for a reason he can't comprehend. The Chimera Ants have seen all humans as being prey, which again is just nature to Gon.
Yeah.
But a Chimera Ant that is killing for malevolent, purposeless reasons gets on his nerves. This is still within the bounds of nature. It's a common misanthropic, intellectually masturbatory thing to say that animals only kill for food, but anyone who's been on the internet for a few minutes knows that's a lie. Animals will kill things or torture them for fun all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, like cats down this road. There's pigeons everywhere, and it's not because they're hungry. They just kill them at the first opportunity you get. They just stand there on top of the bins waiting, and then crazy lady throws bread out, and then it's like, right, now we go kill, and then they don't even just leave them there.
But it's outside the scope of what the ants should be. And this stupid sexy cat seems to be alright defying its own nature. A nature it established already when it killed someone Gon cared about. Gon is still a naive and selfish child, so you can probably see why that sends him into an internal tantrum. And that's really the core to Gon. He's a stupid kid. He's knowledgeable about stuff, he's smart, except when it comes to math, but he's incredibly stupid about consequences, because he prioritizes his instincts and impulses above everything else, just like an animal. Stuff only has value if he finds value in it.
Right.
Gon's moral compass isn't like a person's. To him, there's nothing necessarily wrong with killing or deception or so
Oh yeah, he's fine with that.
on. Animals kill and outmaneuver prey. It's when killing and lying are for a purpose Gon can't process that he starts to get confused and frustrated.
Right.
And when he's frustrated about how things should be, according to him, he gets angry. It's human-specific goals and gray morality that really ruffles his dandies. When he's helping to scam people out of money in an arm wrestling contest, you can tell this bothers him, but he's not really sure if it's a problem. Probably for a lot of reasons. He doesn't place a lot of value on money. He doesn't like dealing with numbers. He's legitimately beating people in a challenge they agreed to, but they also don't have full context of what they're getting into. It's for something he wants, but it's many steps removed from it. Killua also realizes it'd take almost 1 million wins to get the money they'd actually need, so it probably feels pretty disconnected from what Gon actually wants. Yet, he and Leorio end up arm wrestling people for quite a while. He's just a little kid going along with something an older friend wants. For us, this is probably wrong because these people have no chance to win.
Yeah,
it's just stealing with one more step. For Gon, it's probably morally confusing because it's foreign to what he's seen in nature. He doesn't understand it.
So he's trying to maybe learn something new?
Gon is portrayed as innocent in the same way Goku is. Goku picks fights with people all the time.
Yeah.
He has a lot of murders under his belt, but he can ride around on a holy cloud because he's just so pure of spirit.
Yeah.
Goku and Gon are innocent in the same way a wolf or a hippo is innocent.
Okay.
They're just dumb as a sack of bricks when it comes to complex human matters. When Goku slaughters the entire Red Ribbon Army, people of a wide range of backgrounds and economic and political circumstances who could never pose an actual threat to him, that's an innocent boy. When Gon meets a serial killer that became that way because of a series of tragedies in his childhood that ruined his formative upbringing, but Gon doesn't care and uses him as a training dummy until he
Oh yeah, he does, doesn't he? Yeah, with Biscuit.
thanks him and disposes of him? Innocence. When a monkey grabs a tourist baby out of their arms and races through the treetops back home, where they'll tear it apart and eat it alive? Innocent. So pure and innocent. What a pristine, holy being these creatures are for being at one with nature. Like Buddha or Jesus when you think about it, right? What? No? Yeah, maybe being at one with nature isn't so great when nature is known for being the most evil thing in the universe. We call people evil when they obey their animal impulses over having human judgment. Nature just doesn't know how fucked up it is, and that's what supposedly makes it innocent. And that's Gon. He just doesn't realize how fucked up nature is. The whole crux of good and evil is the knowledge of good and evil. Nature is horrible, but we don't blame it because nature is stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't understand.
Humans aren't stupid, well, comparatively.
Well, yeah.
So we try to invent technologies that will let us eat meat without killing animals. When we have to kill an animal, we try to make it painless. We try to ensure the animal doesn't even have time to experience fear. When we catch a corporation treating animals horribly, animals will eat either way. People will raise hell about it.
That's true. Very true. Yes. There's a huge uproar about like ways things are done.
When a pet is suffering, we'll put it to sleep. But when a human is suffering and wants to die, we'll try to stop them, for a lot of complex reasons. Meanwhile, in nature, a bear will eat a baby deer from the ass up for hours as it dies in agony, because bears don't care. It doesn't have to answer to anything. There's no bear police. If there were no human police and no consequences for ignoring human morality, lots of humans would also return to their natural behavior. If someone was strong enough to face no consequences, they might throw away morality altogether. And that's what a hunter is. Someone who's so strong that there can be no punishment for animal behavior other than being attacked by another hunter.
Yeah, okay, right, okay, yeah.
Might makes right. Humans evolved to have ethical systems as a way to ensure group cooperation. That increases the odds that the ugly, stupid children you see on the street will grow up to make more ugly, stupid children. They don't need to be strong, they just need to not be assholes, and even then we're not doing a great job, are we? Most hunters we see exhibit morality of some kind, even the evil ones. Hisoka is portrayed as being incredibly evil, but he has risked his life to ensure the safety and even the ambitions of his toys. Ilumi is perhaps even more evil, but he at least prioritizes his family's security above all else.
Yeah, there's a weird dynamic between those.
Hunters have moral codes, but they're completely personal. They're selfish. They don't care about other people's moral codes unless it would be inconvenient to them. And they can do that because they're Nen, and the Hunter Association enables it. This was Ignero's entire goal, to enable hunters to pursue their selfish ambitions. His selfish ambition was to cultivate powerful opponents to fight. When Merom refused to fight him and only wished to speak on human terms, Netero refused to see him as anything other than an animal that would lose out to his nature.
Yeah.
So he kept trying to start shit.
He kept pushing him, didn't he? It's like, well, I know your name.
Until the shit got started. Then he died. Hunters are human animals, being governed by their natures. Gon is a human animal, being governed by his nature. You can really get a good example of this on Greed Island. Gon's incredibly stubborn and foolish tendencies are on full display here. The entire time he's there, he refuses to cooperate with anyone, and intends to do things his way, which basically comes down to trying to take the most difficult and straightforward path. No sharing cards, no circumventing intended mechanics. When he fights Razor in the dodgeball game, he insists on trying to win with brute force. At one point, Razor redirects Gon's strongest attack back at him with so much force that it would just sail out of bounds. He did this knowing Gon is so stubborn
that he'd still carry on. Oh, wow, okay, interesting.
That while he could win by just moving out of the way, Gon would insist on trying to foolishly catch it. The only reason, and I mean the only reason, that Gon doesn't die is because he passes out. Basically, Togashi turned his brain off long enough for Gon to not ruin the scene. Also, Gon can't even launch an attack on his own. Killua ends up disfiguring his hands just to hold the ball.
Yeah.
Recognizing this, Tezgara comes up with a way to help launch the ball that doesn't involve splintering Killua's hands into gibs of flesh and bone. Gon's response to this is basically, no, that's lame. Also, Gon's response to the reveal of Killua's fucked up hands is like, I know, he'll probably be crippled for life, but he'll do it.
Yeah. Not much of a, oh my god, my best friend, I can't believe he's done this for me, or, you know.
And his hands are my favorite hands. He tries to imply that he wouldn't hit the ball good enough if they used one of their many other options. But, shut the fuck up. The actual reason is that Gon is stubborn and is willing to abuse his friendship with Killua if Killua chooses to let him. Which Killua does because his friendship with Gon is the entire foundation of his life moving beyond being a tool for his family's assassination contracts. I wouldn't say Gon is manipulating Killua so much as just not considering him.
Yeah, it's not a manipulation. He's just like, you know what, if he wants to do that, that's cool, that's his choice, and it helps me out.
The anime tries to have swelling, emotional music to paint this as some moment of ultimate friendship, but that's not friendship. Friendship would be trying to protect your friend's future by any means necessary, which Killua does, but not Gon.
Not Gon, no.
Gon just pouts and refuses to consider other options because he wants to win in a way that makes him cream his stupid-looking green shorts. No, this is terrible, selfish behavior, and he gets called out on it, but learns nothing. You see, immediately afterwards, when they're fighting the bombers, he decides mid-fight to ignore the plan Bisky came up with. Why? Because he had a great idea. His great idea was to let Ginthru blow one of his hands off.
Yeah.
This lets him land one hit. A hit he didn't even need to land. All because Gon was angry and just wanted to hit him really badly. After also getting his windpipe crushed for equally needless reasons, Gon goes back to Bisky's plan, which, believe it or not, works. Also,
wow.
Believe it or not,
who would have thought, eh?
It would have resulted in him not being injured at all. But Gon stubbornly chooses not to do this because, I want to throw a tantrum. I
want to do it my way.
Want to think. I want to punch. The bailout for both of these asinine decisions is a magic card that heals everyone's injuries. Also, even though Ginthru is a mass murderer, I guess he's good now, and Gon heals him. You know, because Gon is innocent and so pure. Also, even though Gon is terrible at tests and stuff like this, he somehow is the top test taker at the end.
Because he's just that good.
Don't much care for Greed Island. It's a lot of Gon being stupid and Togashi just hand-feeding him rewards.
Yeah, Greed Island was a weird one. It was okay. It wasn't the best.
I could give you other examples of this, like Gon refusing to challenge Knuckle in a non-direct way but still being rewarded for it, or Gon pinky promising Palm and not even remotely keeping his promise, or... well, you get the idea. This is just who Gon is. This is his nature. He prioritizes his goals over his safety or even his friend's safety, even if the goal isn't that important. He also tends to refuse to complete goals in any way other than the most blunt and forceful way possible, especially if it's the hardest option. He creates his worst problems and is usually bailed out by other people or pure circumstance. Yes, he's an enhancer, but being an enhancer doesn't make him like this. Him being like this makes him an enhancer.
Yeah.
That problem comes to a head when he has to fight Sex Cat. He sacrifices his body to realize his potential. You might say he didn't have a choice because Pito was going to kill him. Yes, that's true. But he chose to do this alone. He chose to instigate a fight. He chose to bring Pito to a place where help couldn't reach him. He chose to make believe that Kite wasn't already dead. He chose all these things because that is what he is. And that's great character writing. He ends up here because of his pre-established traits. Gon may be nice, but that doesn't make him good. He may not prioritize his friend's safety over their choices, but that doesn't make him evil. He's just a naive kid with a stilted view on how the world works, and he's completely dominated by his desires and character flaws. And again, he's so damn strong that he can get away with it, up until he has to sacrifice everything to murder an animal that was simply following its nature. The thing he roots all of his morality to, nature being nature, he throws away, to get revenge for a guy he's known for about 3 months total, over the entirety of his life. I can hear you screaming, despite being wrong and me being right, so let's get into that.
I'm on board with this. This is a really good take. I mean, I'm not 100% like agreeing with everything here, but yeah.
Kite, I mean. Not into Kite, like, you know. His face is weird, right? Look at him. He's so goddamn weird looking. It's like if you polished and waxed an old person. Or if a bird made a wish to be a boy. Anyway, you might rationalize Gon's obsession with Ging and Kite in any number of ways. Some of it is the writing. Mito is obsessed with Ging even though she only knew him until she was 3 years old. People can't remember much about being 3.
No, that's always confused me as well. Like, I can't remember anything about being that young.
The idea that her whole world orients around Ging is absolutely insipid. He came back home, but only to drop off Gon. No, they didn't really know each other. That's bullshit. Togashi is treating a 3-year-old like she's 29. Same thing with Gon obsessing over Kite. They met for a few hours. It's a stupid relationship whether or not it's placed at the start of the manga or the start of the Chimera Ant arc in the 2011 anime.
Okay, doesn't really matter. It's just, yeah, no, not enough time was spent.
You can make up something like, maybe he hung around for 3 years, but you're just writing fan fiction at that point.
That's not what we were told.
Yes, part of it is that Togashi just didn't hinge these specific relationships on anything coherent. I chalk this up to it being the start of the manga. It was more important to get the ball rolling, so a lot of ideas weren't fleshed out. By the time Gon comes back home in chapter 65, there's a lot of hand-waving to quickly explain away as much of the nonsense as Togashi can. He does a great job of establishing relationships most of the time, just not with anyone from Tutorial Island. Even in chapter 185, when they run into each other again, Kite barely remembers them meeting. In fact, when Gon says he left Jing's hunter license behind, Kite's reaction is, "I did? Oh." I get the feeling that Togashi, sort of like me actually, loves to analyze and break down systems and ideas, but will sometimes just skip over things he's not interested in the moment. It also helps to have characters that never ask obvious questions and only want to know about power systems. But Togashi is also a rascal that will seed ideas that take decades to pay off. He's not Oda or anything, but he does play the long game sometimes, especially since the poor man has a crippling spinal injury, so he has spent a lot of time planning things in his head.
Yeah, and didn't he, or in it recently, put out two... Not like he hasn't actually like published them, but like a convention or something, or an interview, explain 2 possible endings for Hunter x Hunter, just in case he doesn't get to to make it. I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen what they are, but I'm sure. Yeah.
Sometimes, then, I think that this really weird obsession with Ging and Kite is for a reason. Maybe the reason why Gon's mother never gets brought up is because he doesn't have one. Not a new theory, right? But something theorists never really talk about is why Ging would create a baby. We get insight into his ambitions in chapter 338. His original ambition was to get into a royal tomb. He doesn't say why. He just wanted it.
Yeah.
A hunter could do that, so he became one out of convenience.
To be able to do it.
So he didn't want to be a hunter either. But in handling this tomb situation, he found people who didn't care about money or fame, only the truth. But when he finally gets into this tomb, he admits he didn't really care about the truth either. He just enjoyed watching the scholars around him enjoy it. That event came and went. His modern goal is to leave for the Dark Continent because it's something he can't see in front of him. In other words, he likes to see the unseen. Greed Island was similar. He surrounded himself with people who had a goal and realized something new and exciting. He's like a hot airhead on Tinder who says they're adventurous and love new experiences. You can see why his relationships with people are paper thin and fleeting, and also why he doesn't have any concrete ambitions beyond roaming around looking at things. He's one of those people. Exciting for a while when you meet them, it's not until they're gone that you realize that they were just a vampire. They got a new experience and now they're done with it. Now you're just a disposable connection. The series paints this as something good and wholesome because I don't think Togashi realizes that this is not a positive character trait. There's a reason why Ging is incredibly insecure about talking to his son around other people. He doesn't like to show affection to anyone unless it's professional, unemotional. He's a vagrant loner that puts his ambitions first, and he does this because there's nothing intimate going on below the surface. He doesn't have actual substantive relationships because he's not capable of having them, because he doesn't want those things. He's driven by vague, basic ambition and nothing else. He's a selfish human animal, a prototypical hunter.
Okay.
And like many hunters, it paints them as being either narcissists or psychopaths. So he probably didn't make Gon, whether with a card or a stinky hobo pee-pee.
It's just funny how he delivers the lines sometimes. Like, it's proper, like, in-depth analytical, and then it's, like, using words like, it's pee-pee.
For any reason other than it looped into one of his personal goals. What that goal is, we don't know. But it does make me wonder if Gon isn't actually some sort of weird Nen clone that Ging intends to grow up into being him or being a tool of some kind. Ging did know exactly what Gon would do and when he would do it. From the tape to Greed Island, Ging knew exactly what would play out. Now, part of this is probably just, anime bullshit where the characters are just so smart that he knows everything. But it could also just be that Ging knows exactly what he'd do, so he naturally knows what Gon would do.
So he just...
In chapter 345, Gon explains his mentality in chasing Ging around. And it's what I assumed earlier. Gon just had a goal of finding Ging, but didn't really care about meeting him necessarily. He also says he can't think of him as a father, but as some relative he's heard lots of stories about. When Mito points out that Ging is a scumbag who would never make a good father, Gon's response is that he makes a poor son too. And he's right. He's not a great friend either
Not
sometimes.
a good person, yeah.
Point being, they're the same. Gon has the same general type of ambition that Ging did. He wanted something without really caring about it because it was an arbitrary, difficult destination. Gon always takes the hardest route forward, just like Ging does. So, part of me wonders if the reason Gon was obsessed with avenging Kite is because he's wired into whatever Ging wants, because Ging is the one who basically raised Kite. He would be the one that would lose his mind about it. Judging from his behavior when he tried to leave with the Dark Continent expedition, Ging is more than happy to act like an asshole and use violence to get what he wants. Maybe Gon is affected by that? Maybe Gon is some sort of human Nen beast for all I know, but like I said, that's wild.
The end of the wild conspiracy theory.
Nah. So, what was Gon losing his mind actually about?
Okay, let's do it. Let's get into it.
Here's what I think. When Gon actually acknowledges that Kite is dead in chapter 305, his swarming thoughts are all oriented around self-blame. First, blaming Pito, then thinking that Kite died because he left him.
I killed him.
He never blames Killua, only himself. Strangely, he doesn't even blame Kite. This circles around until Kite dying is exclusively Gon's fault. In his mind. Since this happens during what is effectively a panic attack, I take this to mean that this had been Gon's fear the entire time, the basis for his obsession. When Kite, Gon, and Killua headed into ant territory, they had no idea what they were getting into, primarily because the ants had evolved much faster than they had expected. Gon and Killua also seemed to be really full of themselves at the time. After Kite sees that Gon and Killua were totally ineffective at attacking an ant soldier that wasn't even utilizing them, he described the path forward as hell, win or lose. It isn't until Kite loses his arm that they even remotely understand how badly they fucked up.
Yeah, like that's the realization. Like, this guy, he's a big deal. We're screwed.
Killua's thoughts when he escapes is that he and Gon were conceited and incredibly weak compared to Kite. Kite may have survived if they hadn't been with him. When Gon wakes up, he admits the same thing. He tried to lash out, but if he had, it would have made the situation worse. All of them could feel how strong Pito was, so the idea that Kite would survive is absurd.
Yeah, crazy.
But when Gon convinces himself of it, Killua's response is weird. He refers to Gon as the light, and admits that Gon is too radiant to let him see the truth. So I think he means that it's in Gon's nature to assume the best, and that's what he needs at the moment.
Right.
Everyone else picks up on this and uses Gon's fantasy about Kite being alive to keep him motivated from now on. Point being, at this point of the story, Gon and Killua are arrogant about their strength. They've been on a long streak of successes. This is also part of the theme of this arc. Let's talk about that theme. The ants are portrayed as becoming less like animals and more human over time.
Yeah, that's the progression, isn't it? And then it's a switch between,
Even when Netero, Nav, and Morel show up, they're also incredibly foolish and arrogant about their chances. Morel talks down to Killua and praises Gon for trying to stay and fight. The entire structure of Netero determining who would be a part of the extermination team centered around acting like a hunter. That is, having a goal and obstinately forcing your way towards it, acting like an animal. By the time Netero is fighting Meruem, the king is fighting between being human and an ant. Yet he's trying to behave like an authentic king due to his experiences with Komugi, a disabled girl at the bottom of the human social hierarchy. When he was first born, he was needlessly violent and callous.
Mate, yeah, he just did not care whatsoever. There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. But then, as he progresses,
because he was a
changes to I don't want to fight. Let me just sit down and talk.
Beast acting on Chimera Ant instincts. He evolved to the point that his royal guard did everything to shield him from humanity. Netero's lesson for Meruem as he dies is that humanity isn't to be underestimated due to its infinite potential for evolution. That humanity and evolution was happening in the king. And in Netero, he was abandoning conventional human traits to satisfy his ambition to fight. Although Netero spent years focusing his abilities by offering up prayers to martial arts, even though he's themed after a bodhisattva, he's simultaneously framed as being sinister and villainous. A real-life bodhisattva is meant to be a person on the path to awakening to Buddhahood by wishing for a compassionate benefit for all sentient beings.
Okay.
Yet we know Netero is incredibly selfish and only wants one thing: to fight. He's nothing like a Buddha. I'd say this is because the person who themed Netero's powers is Netero. He chose what his power looked like. It's not a reflection of what he is, but how he wants to be perceived by both other people and himself. This kind of hypocrisy and self-involvement and projection is exactly the kind of behavior we see in the ants because they were based off selfish, evil humans from the NGL. In this scene, we're meant to question which one of these people is the actual hero. Are either of them? Who is the most human? Meruem eventually realized that due to the way ants assimilate the traits of species, humans were not compatible. Human behavior would always override their goals as a species, and they would simply become human.
God, what a fight, though. What a fight, though.
The ants that survived the war end up effectively living like humans. They abandon ant behavior entirely, and in some cases return to the lives they had when they were still people.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Whether those lives were good or evil. The important thing to note here is that the most powerful humans are not the most human. I'd argue that the most human character was Komugi, precisely because she was weak and found strength in her words and mind. She defeated the king by elevating him to be more than he was born to be.
Yeah.
Also bear in mind, it isn't Netero that kills Meruem. It's not Nen either. It's science, an invention so mundane, it's used by the gutter trash of world governments. Most of the ants themselves end up being beaten by their own flaws, or by their eroding sense of purpose as the humanity inside of them takes hold. The entire arc is about the arrogance of personal strength and the worth of character, and how that relates to the idea of being a noble human as opposed to a savage beast.
Wow. Factoring
that theme in, you get a clearer picture of what is bothering Gon. He's weak, yet still following his natural ambition. He's our little, unthinking, foolish animal boy. But he's also positive and filled with wonder and naive like a child. Those things are not compatible with the human world in a way that Gon doesn't understand. What's happening is that the meeting of strength and humanity is incompatible. Gon is that incompatibility. He's built his entire life on a foundation of not repeating that first mistake, getting a fox bear killed because he went into a situation without knowing better, going into a situation while being weak, being in a state in which he's powerless and something innocent pays the price. And that's exactly what happens again. Kite is the person that corrected him, and when Kite dies, it's a sign that Gon has made the same mistake. Most importantly, he's made no progress. And that's the one thing a hunter hinges his entire life on. And that's what I've been leading up to. Gon didn't lose his mind because the anime moved Kite's introduction. He didn't lose his mind because he and Kite were best friends or something. That's nonsense. Gon lost his mind about Kite because Kite dying obliterated his entire sense of self. On the way into Chimera Ant territory, Gon had his Nin deactivated for a month, and he felt for the first time in his life what being powerless, what being normal, actually feels like. And he broke down and wept uncontrollably over it. Someone who's strong can't be held accountable. That's what hunters are. Gon has always been stronger than everyone around him. His natural gifts have always let him bully his way through problems in the most direct way possible. His perception of the world is built on an understanding of animal behavior. When Gon doesn't understand behavior, he gets angry at it.
Right.
Gon is always kind, always sweet, as long as he has the power to be. And that is this arc. Humanity versus power. It's when Gon can't understand, lacks power, and
that's when he lashes out and gets, okay, right.
Realizes he not only has gone nowhere, but can't, that he breaks. That's when he'll use an innocent girl as a hostage. That's when he'll project blame onto an animal instead of himself. That's when he'll sacrifice his entire life to satisfy his impotent, confused rage.
Wow.
Unfortunately for Gon, despite having the qualities of being a great hunter, he's still a naive little kid. He's still just like his insensitive, selfish, bullheaded, and adventure-seeking father. He was raised in an idyllic moral society alongside nature to be a good boy, and that's not how shit works out here. All of the ants grew as humans, good and bad. They were born strong, they were born callous and indifferent. Meruem learned nobility and compassion. Yuppie learned honor, however briefly. Shaipoof learned manipulation.
He did, yes. I'm glad we just,
and dishonor. He died a prick.
Yeah, he did.
And Pito demonstrated a wide range of subtle changes, despite never changing instincts at all. When Pito was born, killing Kite was the first thing they did to test their strength. They protected Komugi because the king ordered it, but Pito did so with their life. Gon even noted it was like a mother protecting her child. From him. It's a direct recreation of that fox bear situation, his starting point. Except this time, Gon is practically lusting for the mother to die. I hope I've done a good job of painting how insane that is for Gon, how incompatible, and why it's this exact situation that makes him lose his mind. Also, even though they didn't have to, Pito escorted Gon all the way to Kite's body, was completely honest about what had happened, and even apologized to him. It's possible that if Gon could not have potentially been a threat to the king at some point, that Pito may have even left him and returned home.
Wow.
There was humanity in that situation, and it wasn't just coming from Gon's compassion for Kite. Point being, strength in Hunter x Hunter is something of a sickness to development of human character. Power with men is closely tied with personal ambition, selfishness, and obstinance. In nature, the most versatile and flexible of creatures survive. It's no wonder that the best nin powers are versatile ones. Yet the most powerful and most discouraged are ones layered with rules and restrictions. Honestly, Gon losing his ability to use nin is the best thing that could ever happen to him. While he and his father are figuratively the same person, we've seen what kind of person Ging became. He's just some violent asshole that leeches experiences off of other people.
Yeah.
He's capable, but he doesn't have much character. He uses people and then leaves them. And we've seen Gon use his friends already.
Oh yeah. The same. He's the same.
As for Gon, unfortunately, even though he can't use nin, he's still absurdly strong for no real reason.
Because he's just that good.
He can climb a world tree with no effort, after all. But maybe it would be good for him to live part of his life as a weak, normal person. Someone that doesn't have the ability to solve problems by getting stronger. Maybe then he'll actually change, and we won't get any more Foxbear or Kite mistakes. Maybe instead of growing up to be just like his father, instead of being so obstinate, selfish, and focused, he'll learn solutions to weakness. He'll learn to be more human. Maybe he'll wear some complementary colors to break up all that damn green. Put on some pants, comb your hair, do your homework. That way, when Togashi writes his powers back in 2087, once they've invented artificial spines for this blessed man, Gon will be a better hunter. And he'll be better than his father, specifically because he's been weak and learned how to be a man.
Wow. I really enjoyed that. That was a really good video, really good look into it, really good takes. And yeah, it's just really why Gon is the way he is. I like how he used certain moments. It's like, he's like, oh yeah, she's my mom, but then he meets Kite and he just throws that out the window. Certain things that are said that kind of contradict like theories and reasonings behind why other people say, why stuff happened and that. But that was really cool. That was boss, and I hope he does more videos like that because it's been a while. But yeah, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, link is in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I ask for. Channel is greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for that, and then thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys. Yes, all you guys. Next time.